this is what you're going to have to mute when it comes up.
Okay. I think this is the part I was supposed to mute this and then go back and turn it on. Start. I think I was supposed to mute the Zoom part. I think that was about.
No, you're going to mute YouTube here. Okay. So bottom left. So you've got it. You're already muted. So you're set. Don't do anything there. Leave that alone. Don't click it.
So now we're.
So now minimize this. Go back to your Zoom. Minimize this. Yeah. Okay, got it. And now you're live. It's all on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Thank you very much, Fred. Good evening. My name is Jason Perot, Chairman of the Northborough Groundwater Advisory Committee. And I call to order this January 20th, 2022 meeting of the committee. This open meeting of the Groundwater Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of June 16, 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on our agenda. You can also go to the town website, look for the remote meeting button, click that, and that will take you to the area where you can find the Groundwater Advisory Committee meeting in progress. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Next, I'd like to confirm the participants of the meeting. Committee members, when I call your name, please unmute and respond in the affirmative. My name is Jason Perot. Anthony Zeiton.
Here.
And Bryant Furman. I'm sorry, Bryant, we didn't hear you.
Here. Hear me now?
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Our other members, Teresa Capobianco and Diane Guldner, are not available this evening. Staff members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Town engineer Fred Litchfield.
Here.
And we also have the services of Planning Department Melanie Rich. And this is being streamed on YouTube. For presenters or applicants listed on the agenda, as chair, I will invite each speaker or applicant to, by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Those responding will be asked to wait until the floor is yielded to them by the chair. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others, please request to do so through the chair. And each vote taken by the board or committee will be conducted by roll call. I believe that takes care of the remote meeting logistics. Now we can proceed to the agenda. It's past the hour of 6 o'clock, and we will continue considering the petition of Propertunities LLC for a special permit to extend use by 50 feet into a more restricted zone at 40 and 44 Lawrence Street, map 105, parcels 3 and 4, located in residential C zoning district and groundwater protection overlay district areas 2 and 3. The applicant is Propertunities LLC and the representative is George Connors. Good evening, George.
Good evening, thank you.
We previously heard the presentation in detail for this application. We had a concern, kind of a incidental concern about whether or not the properties as situated on the lots would satisfy the requirements of the respective residential zoning district. So we're here to kind of follow up on that. The committee has seen some follow-up correspondence and a subsequent review and reassertion of the opinion from Northborough Town Council on that portion of the matter. George, do you have anything more that you would like to present
I do.
here in the meeting?
Yes, I did respond post town council's reassertion, as you mentioned. I would like to take the opportunity to go through that in some detail from a technical merit perspective. And the reason that I would like to bifurcate that from the legal aspect is because the Zoning Board of Appeals is really the board that I think should be looking at the interpretation of the bylaw as a groundwater advisory group. I think as I read the regulation under the groundwater, that you advise as to the appropriateness of the particular project relative to its technical merits. Its technical merits in this instance are pretty clear from a infiltration and groundwater protection perspective. I've gone through the various criteria in my December 23rd letter to you. And I also noted that in this particular instance, there is a couple of structures on that portion of the land where we're replacing it with a house. The existing structures have no infiltration for their roof areas, and the house does. So in all respects, relative to the groundwater protection, the increase in groundwater supply from the infiltrations, and the fact that Fred has reviewed it from the technical merits on the 15% and issued an opinion on that particular aspect. I think it is best that the groundwater protection advisory deals with those issues, that it doesn't impair the groundwater. It doesn't reduce the existing capacity. It increases the groundwater supply. And it has a septic system in the groundwater 3 area that meets Title V. There's a lot of ambiguity, in my opinion, and in regulations. We all know a layman should be able to read the regulations and know what's expected of him. And as I went through my analysis on writing of the bylaw, I think it's pretty clear that there is no particular requirement in the groundwater 3 relative to an area requirement. The building inspector's letter of some other project passed, I don't think was appealed, and I think probably should have been. I were involved in that and had that particular opinion. I think I would have advised be done. But we have no appeal to you in the groundwater advisory place. So we really need to get to the Zoning Board of Appeals for their decision, which does carry the potential for an appeal to the court. I'm happy to argue the merits of the language with the board at the zoning board. That's the appropriate place. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're an advisory board dealing with specific requirements for the impact to groundwater alone. I would suggest that by replacing impervious surface with a little bit less impervious surface, putting that into the ground in a manner that is coincident and correct with your regulations and Fred's analysis, we should be able to get a positive opinion on that. If we get any opinion, we'll certainly take that to the zoning board and that process. But I would like to have technical answer to it for the Zoning Board of Appeals to be able to wade through the weeds on the language of the bylaw.
Thank you very much, Mr. Connors. Fred, do you have anything you'd like to add from the town's perspective? You're muted, Fred.
Thank you. I think the town council's opinion is pretty clear. Mr. Connors is correct. The technical aspects of the impervious cover are met by their plan. The issue is that the committee is reviewing an application for a special permit to move the line so that the house can be extended into the more restrictive zone within the 50 feet that's allowed by special permit only. My concern was that even if the special permit's granted, that the building permit can't be granted because it doesn't meet the dimensional requirements. And Attorney Connors is indicating that he really wants to have that discussion with the Board of Appeals, which is certainly his right. I think that what we need to do is we're obligated to make a recommendation on the request for the special permit. And that's why the application is before you. You're required to render a recommendation. My opinion is that it should not be granted because the building permit can't be issued for a lot that doesn't meet the zoning beyond the groundwater, beyond the impervious cover calculation portion of it. But certainly they have the right to present to the ZBA and make their case for them. But my recommendation, as it was previously, was that the special permit not be granted or not be recommended to be granted. And then a longer, more detailed discussion needs to take place with the ZBA regarding the legal aspects of the buildability of the lot, I'm guessing, and the building inspector will be at I believe, be at the ZBA meeting to discuss those portions of the zoning bylaw. But he is correct. The impervious cover calculations are met. Septic system, a new septic system is an improvement. Those issues are not really in question, but the board does have to make a recommendation on the special permit application, which is what's before you. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you, Fred. So there's, if I can call it a separation of concerns, there is the technical aspect of the impervious coverage and whether that satisfies the requirements of the groundwater overlay district bylaw provisions. Separate from that is the consideration of whether the plan overall will satisfy other bylaw conditions in order to proceed forward with the development. That broader consideration, I guess I would say, is not something that falls entirely within the scope of this committee. But I think we, as a committee, could, in making a recommendation to the special permit granting authority, we could, state our opinion about whether the technical aspects relating to groundwater are satisfied, while also making the observation or expressing the concern that there are other issues bearing upon this application, which the special permit granting authority will have to consider to arrive at its decision. That's, as I was reviewing some of this information, I think that's where I was following. And I will, I guess, state for the record, as I have been doing over these several meetings, Groundwater Advisory Committee is simply that, an advisory committee to make a recommendation to a special permit granting authority. We do not grant approvals. And generally speaking, we have tended to focus on the technical aspects of groundwater protection. There may be other provisions of the groundwater bylaw or other portions of the bylaws that come into play, which the special permit granting authority will have to consider in deciding whether to approve or deny a particular application. So having said that, I'll ask the other committee members. Anthony Zeiton, do you have an opinion?
So just and this is to Fred, from a technical perspective, they meet all the requirements?
They satisfy the requirement for the not to exceed the 15% lot coverage. It's properly recharged. And typically we do consider a new septic system in conformance with Title V as an improvement over an older system that may or may not be working properly, as long as it's been designed in accordance with the health department regulations, which this one appears to have. I believe it has approval from the Board of Health. So there's no disputing those facts. It's really the issue of the lot and the area requirement. And it, as Attorney Connors pointed out, that is a more technical aspect of the law rather than groundwater protection, but it does fall under your purview, and you are required to make a recommendation to the ZBA on the special permit.
So here's what my thoughts are. If it's a technical perspective in our purview, and it meets the requirements, I would, I guess I would say we'd move to recommend it from a technical perspective, but then make it very clear of all the reasons, or, basically what Attorney Dineski had laid out, as well as yourself, Fred, of why it doesn't meet the requirements from a dimensional perspective. But I think from our purview, I guess I would say that if it does comply, then we can say that much, and then condition whatever conditions we have if the SPGA does approve it.
Thank you, Anthony. Bryant, would you like to weigh in?
Let me see if I can unmute here. You can hear me?
Gotcha. Yes, we can.
Okay. I agree with everything that's been said, and I think this is a unique situation where the permitting authority really needs to involved with this aspect, the dimensional size of the lots. I mean, there's nothing technical about that. It's nothing that we can look at the technical aspects of, other than the way that the bylaw is written. I think that's something the ZBA should probably wrestle with, because if it is appealed, they'll be the ones that need to defend it. So, so I agree with Anthony. We should state that the technical aspects before the committee appear to be okay, but this outstanding issue is something that will pass the buck up to the ZBA, I guess.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Bryant. Is there anything more that the committee members think they need in terms of information about this or further discussion?
I mean, I think just if we could understand what conditions should it be approved, what should be added to a recommendation or not recommendation.
I just got to throw my 2 cents in again. I think
Okay.
that the plan is, if the groundwater line was such that it was all in groundwater 3, or there was a sufficient area in groundwater 2 to satisfy the requirement, it'd be fine. And I think we can state that the plan as proposed does meet the requirements of the impervious cover and recharge for the lot. But the question is, how are we, and it will come out in your motion, are we recommending approval or not to approve the request for this special permit? That's what the ZBA, I believe, is looking for us. They will have a separate discussion on the legal aspects of it. But I just need to be able to, and I'm perfectly happy to state whatever the committee's desire is. Just want to make sure I have it clear that if you're recommending approval or disapproval of the special permit request, the technical aspects of the impervious cover and the septic system are agreed upon by everyone. I just want to make sure that we're not recommending.
Sorry, we lost you, Fred. You went mute.
I'm sorry about that. I don't want to make, I want to make sure it's it's not confused that you're recommending approval of the special permit to move the line. If you want to say that the plan meets the requirements everywhere else, but the request to move the groundwater line, that's what I need to make clear to the ZBA from the groundwater committee, however you decide to vote.
Right. I think that's kind of the frame of mind I am in, that that perhaps the Groundwater Advisory Committee has no objection with respect to the technical aspects of groundwater in terms of impervious cover and septic and those specific issues. But we don't necessarily, it's coming to me as more of no objection based on those specific technical aspects relating to groundwater, but not a recommendation of approval because of the uncertainty of the other aspects that the special permit granting authority will have to consider. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase that, sufficiently accurately and narrowly, and in a way that reflects the sentiment of the committee members. Any suggestions, Anthony, about that?
I think we could just state that we agree that from a technical perspective, the site meets all requirements. However, because we're saying two things, but then we're not necessarily recommending that they approve it. So I'm not certain, to be honest with you, which is the best way to go here, but or just state it that way. It's kind of confusing, right?
I'm very hesitant to say we recommend approval of the special permit. I think we don't want to say that. I think we want to say we have essentially no objection to the proposal as it relates to the specific aspects that pertain to groundwater protection, specifically the impervious coverage, the design of the septic system, those specific aspects. But we're perhaps not making any judgment with respect to satisfying other aspects of the bylaw relating to residential lot size and where those lot sizes fall in the groundwater overlay districts.
Could we
I think
just,
that makes.
Yep.
Sorry, Brent, go ahead.
I was just thinking, could we say something that we would approve or consider approval, but absent the resolution of this lot line, we are hesitant to give it an approval until that's resolved.
How about
Yes.
throw out an idea? Perhaps you could indicate in a memo, because you can say whatever you want, and then the ZBA can do whatever they want. But how about the memo basically says, while we see that the plan as presented meets the groundwater quality aspects of the bylaw, it doesn't appear to be buildable based upon lot size as per the town council's opinion, and therefore then you say whether you recommend the special permit or not. So, you need to get in there. We recommend approval of the special permit, or we don't recommend approval of the special permit. That's the key phrase I need to be able to share with the ZBA. And again, they're going to look at all the information from town council and from attorney Connors and sort it out for themselves, I guess. I guess as I'm looking at it, if you look, you're focusing on the application as for a special permit to move the line. The other things are, we have to handle those prior to the issuance of a building permit, but I don't think that it's appropriate to recommend approval of the special permit to move the line when in fact the lot's not buildable either way. But, and that's what I took from town council's opinion, but I don't want to put words in your mouth too much.
Yes, Mr. Connors.
May I make a suggestion on your language that you find that the proposal on a technical basis relative to the groundwater design criteria has been met, and you can outline the 2 or 3 steps that you want, and that you have not made a decision relative to the size of the lot, and that would be the end of it. That way, it would not be an appealable aspect of the appeal should the zoning board not approve it. Go into court to try this, we'd like to have it only on the interpretation of the lot size in the particular district, which I think we all focus on to some great extent and don't agree.
Bryant, any further consideration?
No, I think we've all said the same thing, different ways. So I'm not sure how to make it a little more succinct, but
Yeah. So I'm struggling to, it seems to me that a recommendation, we've previously discussed that our recommendation is not necessarily to approve. Our recommendation is to specify conditions in the event that the permit granting authority approves an application. And so along that line, I guess I wonder if what we want to do is state that do we have any conditions or additional conditions that we think we need to impose with respect to groundwater, or does the impervious coverage and the septic system design fully satisfy the requirements that they address or are intended to address, and that there are no other specific conditions that this committee wishes to suggest?
Yeah, I don't know. So the thing that I think where we got into this whole language about, not approving, but recommending approval or denial, or just approving of the plan, is if it does get denied by the zoning board, then if they were to take it to the courts and appeal it, the language typically would come back and say that we approved the groundwater commanded, we approve this. So, and that can be used against it too. So it's tricky.
And so I guess that takes me back to my earlier statement, phrasing something to the effect that that this committee has no objection from the perspective that the application satisfies the impervious cover and septic considerations for groundwater protection. um, and takes no position with respect to the uncertainty about whether other aspects of the residential zoning bylaw in terms of lot size or whatever is adequate or suitably located to permit the application to go forward.
I think that's right on.
Something like that.
Yeah, that would just take,
Works for me.
I would prefer to comment on the things that we think we understand well enough to comment on and defer to the special permit granting authority the consideration of the ambiguous portion of the application.
So-
And now let me go back to Fred for just a second. Fred, unlike some of our other applications that we have some set of conditions that we end up suggesting to attach to an approval, are there any such conditions that would apply here, or it's simply that the presented plan meets all of the requirements?
I don't have any conditions that I could recommend to you. The plan, if the groundwater line was in a place where it was all in area 3, or there was the 40,000 square feet in area 2, then it would be fine and it would be approved. What we normally do is issue a building permit. The building inspector and I review plans to make sure that they meet the dimensional requirements. The only thing I could offer is that if you were to choose not to recommend approval of the special permit, it would be because the bylaw allows you to move the use, but not the dimensional requirements. And therefore they don't have the 40,000 square feet that's required in groundwater area 2 for a building lot. So, and to answer your question though, I have no conditions to give you. If they did this, this, and this, they'd be okay. They're not okay unless they can make more land or create it such that all of the work, all of the use of all of the land is in, if there's enough land in groundwater area 3 to meet without going into groundwater area 2. By moving the line, again, you get to move the use, but you don't get to take benefit of the land area to meet the dimensional requirement by going over that line. The bylaw says you can move the use.
to the chair. And also, I'm just thinking now, would it make sense to make the position that the application is fatally flawed? And for that reason, we don't recommend.
Again, you're an advisory committee. None of you are supposed to be attorneys, but we have attorneys and town council for. I think that really you're not, it's however you want to do it, I guess, at this point. We're going around and around in a circle, and I'm trying to find a way to get you wording that you're comfortable with to recommend. I think we're all in agreement, I think, that you don't want to recommend approval of the special permit. But I think that even if the special permit were granted, they don't have a buildable lot based upon the opinion by town council that you can't use the land in area 2 to satisfy the lot area requirement. That moving, the special permit only allows you to move the line to allow the use to extend, but not to satisfy dimensional requirements. And I think that's the crux, that, you know, if they acquired more land in front of the line that was all in area 3, and they were able to meet the 20,000 square feet that's required in that district outside of the groundwater 3 area, or in the groundwater 3 area, then it would be a buildable lot. But the only way to do that is to combine the 2 lots into one. And I think that they're trying to get 2 lots where maybe there should only be 1.
So Anthony, do you have a leaning of how you want to approach this?
I think the way you stated it earlier may be the most appropriate, where we, as a committee, agree that technically it meets our requirements. However, we make no position as to whether the special permit should be granted.
And Bryant, any?
Well, yes, I agree. We really can't make a recommendation one way or the other until this issue is resolved, and we don't have the authority to resolve it. So we could make it as simple as that we're unable to make a recommendation,
Right.
a final
I mean-
recommendation, even though technically it
Right.
from a groundwater protection perspective, it appears to be satisfactory, but without this issue resolved, we can't recommend whether they approve the permit or not.
And
I mean, Fred's looking for a recommendation to approve it or not approve it. I don't think we're in that position to do that.
and I would fall back to say that the basis for our doing that would be reliance on town council's opinion.
Correct, but we could state it as such, based on town council's, the committee feels that that's the town's position, so we would approve it then. Or recommend approval.
We would, well, on the basis of town council's opinion, we would
Yeah.
not recommend approval.
Correct.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. We are at a bit of a impasse here.
Do you want to make a pass at a motion and
Yeah, let me see if I can state this. Do I have a motion to provide a response to the special permit granting authority to the effect that the committee has no objection to the application with respect to the specific aspects of the bylaw concerning groundwater protection in terms of impervious cover, septic system design, and the like. However, the committee understands there is some ambiguity concerning the satisfaction of lot sizes with respect to the residential district, and the committee takes no position or makes no recommendation with respect to the special permit for that consideration. I'm making this up as I'm talking here.
I think that sounds good.
It's difficult to capture precisely what it is we're trying to,
Right.
to agree is satisfactory and what we think is ambiguous and
Can I
difficult
just,
for this committee. Yes.
can I
please go
just,
ahead, Fred.
can I just ask that your recommendation or comments include something that references town council's opinion. The ZBA did ask that town council be aware of what was going on and render an opinion. And so, and we've spent, town money getting that opinion. I think it's important to make sure that it's referenced in there so that the ZBA knows you received it and that you're aware that what town council's opinion is, or whatever your recommendation is. Just
Yep.
make sure that there's a reference to their opinion both times, either or both. That's all. I just want to.
Yep.
I need them to know that you saw it.
So I think there's two prongs to this. One is that we have no objection to the application with respect to the specific technical groundwater protection provisions for impervious cover and for septic system design. The second prong is that understanding that there's some disagreement about the location and satisfaction of lot sizes with respect to the residential bylaw in consideration of town council's opinion. This committee makes no recommendation to approve or deny the special permit. I'm getting lost here. The second prong, and committee members, feel free to help me out. The second prong is that in consideration, understanding that there's ambiguity about the lot size provisions for residential districts, and that town council has opined that the lots are not buildable. This committee takes no position as to whether the special permit should be granted in consideration of those issues.
So moved.
You got all that, Fred?
I just need to ask Melanie if she got all that.
When it gets this confusing, I pick it up on video.
I'll have to watch it 4 or 5 times myself to know what I said.
Yeah, I kept changing.
We have a motion by Anthony Zeiton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is a roll call vote. Bryant Furman,
Aye.
Anthony Zeiton,
Aye.
and I, Jason Perot, vote aye. So that carries unanimously. And that is the response that we will communicate to the special permit granting authority. As unsatisfactory as it may be to anybody else but us. I think
Okay,
that,
so just
yes.
in a nutshell,
yes,
okay with the technical aspects on impervious cover and net runoff volume increase, and no opinion on the special permit.
that's, I think, essentially correct. No opinion on whether the special permit should be granted because of the disagreement or uncertainty concerning residential lot size requirements.
Okay, well, the building inspector will be there to lend his opinion at the ZBA meeting, which may or may not clear things up.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Connors, thank you very much. Appreciate your patience.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you all for that. Not easy to navigate consideration. Next up, we have review and approve minutes of October 20, 2021. Committee members, have you had a chance to review the minutes?
I have.
Yes.
And do I have a motion?
I had a couple corrections.
Sure, why don't you go ahead and
On page 4, it says Representative George Connors. I think we should probably identify him as an attorney for the project.
Okay,
And a couple lines down, it says 2 lots years, we should add ago.
uh-huh,
And on page 5, paragraph 1, line 4, should be pavement and not payment, I believe.
Can you do that? Can you tell me that one more time, Brian?
The whole thing?
just
The-
that last,
Oh, the last one?
The second one and the last one.
Page 5, paragraph 1. It's around line 4. It says payment. It should be pavement, I believe. They're talking about removing the pavement, not the payment.
Okay, and what was the one before that? Was it on page 4?
Page 4, right. It's it said something about the 2 lots years, and it ends. It probably should say years ago. The 2 lots were created years ago.
I think what I'd like to do is to put the date in there that when that was done, because I don't think it was that long ago. It was like a year or two ago. I don't want it to,
Okay, yeah,
I don't want it
yeah.
to seem like it was 20 years ago
right.
before
No,
the
that's fine.
groundwater bylaw.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
add the
fine.
date.
Okay, that's good. Even better.
Otherwise, okay?
Okay,
so do I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Make a motion to approve the October 20th, 2021 minutes as amended.
second,
Moved by Anthony Zeiton, seconded by Bryant Furman. This is a roll call vote. Bryant Furman,
aye.
Anthony Zeiton,
Aye.
and I, Jason Pro, vote aye. Minutes are approved. The next item is consideration of phrasing of the committee's recommendation to special permit granting authorities. If there's no objection, I would suggest we defer this to the next meeting so that we have all members in attendance if they have any opinions about how that should be done.
Agreed.
Although after this, this one, it might change it again.
I think, yeah, this might have some useful lessons learned here.
Right.
Okay. And then Fred, next meeting date, normal meeting date would be February 8th. Any items on the docket? Not known yet.
I don't have any formal application yet. We're dealing with a shortage of hosts. I'm able to host your meetings, although my skills are rusty at best. But what I'd like to do is to avoid any conflicts. I think I would like to, as a standard practice, advertise, or if you're all agreeable, just keep your meetings on the second Tuesday and just move them back to 7 o'clock, allowing the Board of Health to meet at either 6 o'clock or 5:30. And typically, according to the health agent, they don't run more than an hour. I've spoken to Teresa. She's okay finishing one and then jumping in as close as possible. Just, it's a bit selfish on my part, I'll admit. Scheduling your meetings with 5 people who are on 5 different boards, and everyone's trying to get Mondays and Tuesday because there are no hosts available on Wednesday or Thursday, and nobody wants to meet on Friday. So that's my plan, and if anyone has any objections to it, please let me know.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with just keep, so you're saying keep regular Tuesdays and assume a 7 o'clock start time unless unless noted otherwise.
Yes, second Tuesday of the month.
Yep, okay, very good.
So February 8th, right?
February 8th would be your next meeting. If applications show up, I think the deadline for the ZBA for February is hasn't passed yet. So I'm not aware of any applications. There's one that may be before the planning board, but I won't know till next week. And that will be at their potentially their February 15th meeting. So I'll be in touch next week if it comes in, and I'll get the packets out to you as quickly as possible.
Very good. Thank you. And if there's nothing more, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Moved by Anthony Zeiton, seconded by Bryant Furman. This is a roll call vote. Bryant Furman,
aye.
Anthony Zeiton,
Aye.
and I, Jason Perot, vote aye. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for your participation this evening. Thank you,
Thanks,
Fred.
everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Too.